In the first part, we saw a man confronts his possessed wife. A girl named Vanya attempts to summon her deceased mother's spirit through the Charlie game, only to be confronted by an evil entity masquerading as her mother. As these unsettling events intensify, her guardians seek assistance from a formidable couple to confront and vanquish the malevolent presence. Following this, Laris instructs Vanya to ask 3 questions that could only be answered by her and her mom later. Reynard explains that usually if there is a different entity, one of the answers would be wrong. Vanya tries to summon her mom's spirit, and as the pencil moves, she asks if Snow White is her favorite among the fairy tale princesses. The pencil moves to no, and Vanya confirms that her favorite princess is Cinderella. She then asks if her mother used to whisper to her before bedtime, hoping for good dreams. The pencil moves to yes, and Vanya also confirms this. Lastly, she asks whether her mother used to tell her that she wouldn't grow bigger if she didn't eat, to which the pencil spins to no, and Vanya confirms this as well. Laris asks Vanya to go play in her room as she wants to talk to her mom. Vanya complies and heads to her room with Nur, and as she leaves Sabrina on the dressing table to join Nur in play, Sabrina's eyes move. Meanwhile, Laris confirms that the spirit is indeed Andini, but reassures that they will send her back. She then attempts to communicate with Andini, asking her if she is willing to accept her help in returning to her peaceful realm. However, in response, the board inexplicably catches fire, which scares them all, and in Vanya's room, the light begins flickering before it gets dark there. Reynard and Laris then prepare for another ritual, and tell them that they have to force Andini to go back. Meanwhile, Nur encounters a demonic version of Vanya, who viciously attacks her by stabbing her face with a pair of scissors. Following the attack on Nur, the demonic Vanya rushes toward them and stabs Laris, prompting others to swiftly restrain Vanya and lay her down. Overwhelmed by the shocking turn of events, Reynard and Laris then commence reciting prayers, which only serves to further enrage the spirit, resulting in Vanya levitating in the air. However, Laris explains that the demonic entity is on its way out, and they continue with the exorcism. After a while, Vanya loses consciousness, and a sense of calm settles over the room. When she eventually awakens, they believe they have succeeded in sending Andini back to her realm. However, they are confronted by the demonic Andini once again, and Laris identifies it as Bagaya. Reynard urgently instructs them to leave the house, but when Vanya asks about Sabrina, Aiden, and Reynard rush back inside the house to retrieve it, but get shocked to see unconscious Nur in Vanya's room. Hastily, they carry Nur and Sabrina out of the house to safety, after which Reynard closes the door and secures it with the sacred necklace, due to which everything suddenly calms down. The scene then shifts to the hospital, where Reynard reveals that the entity that has been staying with them is not Andini, but a demon's child that disguised itself as her, and they should see it for themselves. They then begin the commission ritual, and Reynard explains that Laris will tell them telepathically. Laris takes them to Andini's house from a year ago, when they first encountered the possessed Andini. Laris tells Andini that she is the true owner of her body, and not the evil spirit who is controlling her. However, the demon denies being a mere spirit, but something different, and Laris gets scared seeing its true form. The demon discloses that he is Bagya, one of the demon's children in the spirit realm, and she can't drive him out. Laris takes out a sacred necklace crafted from yellow bamboo wrapped in moringa leaves, reminding Bagaya of the sacred pact made by their ancestors in the archipelago, that they will not disturb each other, and whoever broke it will be destroyed. Just then, Arca bursts into the room and rushes towards Andini, but the demon pulls him towards itself, launching a deadly attack that results in Arca's demise right there. The demon then lunges at Laris, but Reynard intervenes and seizing the opportunity, Laris swiftly places the sacred necklace around the demon's neck and begins reciting prayers, while Reynard sprinkles holy water on her, causing the demon to levitate in the air. After some time, Andini's head is severed and falls to the ground. Following this, there is a powerful explosion, and the remaining body of Andini vanishes from the scene. Maira and Aiden gets disturbed by seeing all this, and Laris tells them that if the demon stays in a person's body for more than 2 days, the soul inside dies. Reynard adds that they do not know how Bagaya approached Andini and took control of her body, but its old grudge from failing to control Andini's body makes it want to return now. Lara says that when they found out that Vanya's mom was the same as Andini, they both got suspicious that this had to do with Bagaya, but they kept hoping that it was wrong. Bagaya's cunning strategy involves appearing as Andini to Vanya and disturbing all of them, so they come to them, ultimately seeking an opportunity to confront Lara's and take revenge. Lara says, Bagaya is back to control another human body, so it can live as a human just like it wanted, and to kill her. Reynard urges them not to return to that house as he has sealed the entity inside it, and he promises to solve this case with Lara's thoroughly. Lara's and Reynard return to their house and venture into their secret room, where Reynard reveals a weapon and tells her that the day after they met Bagaya, he performed a ritual meditation seeking guidance and beseeching the Creator for protection against future demonic threats. He journeyed to an inland area in the south of Java to locate an heirloom hidden by the demon itself, as it knew this item could defeat it. Reynard emphasizes that getting rid of the demon is not enough because it will certainly come back, so they have to destroy it forever. He instructs her to use this heirloom when Bagaya shows its true form. Aiden, along with Maira and Vanya, relocates to Arka's house, seeking safety. Meanwhile, Lara's and Reynard visit Aiden's abandoned house to confront the demon, but Lara says she is sure Bagaya is not here this time. However, Reynard disagrees, asserting that the demon has chosen this house as a base of operations to lure them in. Lara's counters, suggesting that the house is merely a shell and that the demon must have escaped before Reynard sealed it. And suddenly, they realize that the demon has concealed itself within the Sabrina doll. Meanwhile, Aiden takes Vanya and Maira to his toy factory, informing her that there are no workers present as it's a scheduled day off, and he also tells her that there are no cell phone signals inside. They enter the sewing room, where Vanya expresses her interest in trying sewing. Aiden sets up the sewing machine for her, and Vanya mentions that she needs to use the bathroom first. She leaves the room with Maira, and as they depart, the doll's eyes move. Lars tries to call Maira, but her number is not reachable. While Maira waits for Vanya outside the toilet, she becomes frightened upon hearing a demonic growl. Suddenly, the demon appears in front of her, causing Maira to freeze in terror. But just then, Vanya returns and tells her that the toilet is locked. The demon then begins moving towards them, prompting them to flee in panic, urgently informing Aiden that they must leave. However, before they can escape, the demon seizes Maira and pulls her back inside. It then reveals its true form, and when Maira desperately tries to escape, it approaches and attacks her. As Lars and Reynard arrive at the factory, Vanya informs Lars that Maira is trapped inside with the demon. Without hesitation, they rush inside, where they find Aiden struggling to open the door. Amidst this chaos, we see the demon's sinister attempt to take control of Maira's body. Reynard and Aiden forcefully break open the door, only to find Maira possessed by the demon inside, who tells Lars that he can't wait to kill her. It then swiftly charges toward Lars and stabs her with a knife, and as Aiden and Reynard rush to intervene, the demon injures Reynard and then throws Aiden aside with formidable strength. The demon approaches Reynard, seemingly to retrieve the knife, but it stabs him again, and then it pursues Lara's with the intent to end her life. Despite Lara's attempts to flee, the demon hurls the knife at her, knocking her to the ground, and then closes in on her and delivers another brutal stab. Undeterred, Lara's begins reciting prayers while clutching the sacred necklace. However, the demon declares that as long as she remains terrified, it will not relent. And then, in a vicious act, it snatches the necklace and shatters it. Laura summons her strength and pushes the demon back. She then swiftly makes her way to the car only to discover the key is missing. And just then, the demon appears and launches another attack. Despite the odds, Lara's bravely fights back and manages to run away from there. Meanwhile, Aiden helps Reynard to get up and they rushes to help Lara's. During this time, the demon continues its pursuit, eventually reaching Lara's house. However, just as it is about to strike Lara's down, Reynard and Aiden arrive on the scene and Aiden swiftly disarms the demon, knocking the knife from its hand, and then subdues it, bringing it downstairs. Laras hurriedly begins reciting prayers in an attempt to expel the demon from Maira's body. However, the demon scoffs and reveals that it initially entered the human realm by possessing Andini's body because it was invited by someone, so it has the right to claim its reward. As Laras touches the demon's head, she enters a telepathic vision, witnessing Aiden's past. She sees Aiden with his father, who dismisses Aiden's toy designs, asserting his own judgment on which designs would be profitable. Tragically, their parents die in an accident, and upon reading their father's will, it is revealed that Arca inherits 60% of the toy company's shares, while Aiden receives only 40%. Fueled by jealousy, Aiden visits a shaman and asks the shaman to kill his brother. However, the shaman tells him that in return, the entity who will kill his brother will live inside his body. Aiden agrees and the shaman begins the ritual, but after a failed attempt to possess Arca, the shaman tells Aiden that to execute his plan successfully, they will use Arca's wife's body. The demon says that the goal is achieved as Arca is dead, and Aiden is now the only heir. As Laras begins reciting prayers, the demon attempts to seize control of Lara's and Reynard's bodies, but fails. Frustrated, it decides to target Aiden's body instead. Reynard rushes to Aiden's side, only to discover that he is now possessed. And in a swift and brutal move, the demon grabs Reynard by the throat. Now when Laras reaches there, the demon tells her that this body is stronger, and then it throws Reynard out of the house. He then tells Laras that now she is going to die and lunges at her, prompting her to quickly retreat to the kitchen and lock herself in. The demon relentlessly tries to break in, but amidst the chaos, Laras finds strength within herself, fueled by the revelation that the demon was responsible for the deaths of her husband and child. Laras retrieves the sacred necklace and initiates her prayers, and as the demon breaks into the kitchen and charges toward her, she acts swiftly, placing the necklace around its neck, and manages to knock the demon down. Outside, when Maira helps Reynard to get up, he asks her to bring the Sabrina doll here immediately. Responding to his command, Maira hurries to the factory to fetch the doll, and meanwhile, Reynard joins with Laras to combat the demon. After a while, Maira returns with the doll and hands it over to Reynard, and Reynard, while reciting prayers, stabs the doll with a knife. Soon after, the doll vanishes and Aiden becomes unconscious, but after a while, he wakes up. However, just then a menacing demonic growl pierces the air, and they see Vanya manifesting in a mirror. Reacting swiftly, Laras and Reynard waste no time and hurl the mirror to the ground, shattering it into pieces. However, the demon materializes before them once more. With determination fueled by the power of the heirloom, Laras confronts the demon head-on. As the demon moves to attack, she retaliates with fierce determination, channeling the power of the heirloom against it. In a climactic showdown, Laras strikes the final blow and destroys it, and with an explosion, it disappears from there. Later, the police arrive at the scene and arrest Aiden for his crime, while the others receive necessary medical attention for their injuries. After a few days, Maira pays a visit to the graves of Andini and Arca, and meanwhile, Andini's spirit appears to Vanya, and she explains to Vanya that she must now return to the afterlife, as she has accepted all of the things that had happened. She tells Vanya that she is lucky to have Maira, and as Andini embraces her, the gate to the afterlife opens behind her, and just as Andini fades away, Vanya awakens from her sleep. She rushes out looking for her mom, but Maira comes out from behind that door and asks her what's wrong with her. Vanya tells her that she dreamed of meeting her mom, who is happy now, and she doesn't want to see her being sad anymore when she remembers her. She then says she is lucky to have her, and then addressing her as mom, she asks to never leave her. Meanwhile, Laras receives a call and her expression turns serious as she converses with the caller. After hanging up, she tells Reynard that it was about a case, including dolls. Worse than Sabrina, and as they set out for a new challenge, the movie ends here. Thanks for facing the frights with us. If you survived this video, drop a like, summon that subscribe button, and brace yourself for more horror. Until next time, stay spooked.